Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm going to be the first D&D commentator. I don't think you're going to find any other D&D commentator on YouTube carrying the banner for the right to be wrong as a player. All right, so I'm the first banner carrier for a new movement in the Dungeons and Dragons community. Join me, right? The right to be wrong as a player. Okay. So I'm incredibly blessed. I'm living my best life with my Dungeons and Dragons right now. We have, a campaign that is just on rails. I have a lot of engagement with my players, and I'm actually also playing on Sunday. So everybody at our table is a dungeon master. Everybody at our table is a player, and we have this 4-hour block on Sundays. We split it into 2 separate games, and it's going great. And we run D&D, and we run some other games. We run D&D 5e. We run some other games as well, and it's fantastic, and we're having a great time with it. So, but there is a problem. All right, so I have a mechanical player. He's also a DM, so I'm going to refer to him as the mechanical player. He's our best mechanical player. He knows the rules inside and out. He knows the mechanics of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition better than anybody at the table. Okay. All right, so I'm a player in a game. He's a player in a game, and someone else, and one of the others is dungeon mastering. One of the other participants in our Sunday game are dungeon mastering, right? So I'm running a Harangon rogue, right, with subclass Phantom, okay, and so basically I look at, I think it's over in Tasha's Guide to Everything. So I go over to Tasha's Guide to Everything, and I look at all the abilities and the special things I can do with and I get really excited, and I'm 5th level at this point, right? But I say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to use this power, right? And so I'm going to use this specific power. And so I say, I'm going to use this, the Tears of the Soul, or it's one of these powers. I think it might have a different name. And the Dungeon Master says, okay, go ahead and make your roll, right? And then suddenly my mechanical player says, he said a little different than that. No, you are a 5th level character, and that character is a 9th, and that ability is for 9th level characters. You cannot cast that. They're record scratch. That's a problem, right? Here's what I'm saying. I have a right to be wrong as a player. And that player, my mechanical player, did not respect that right to be wrong. Okay. Now I have had discussions with this player about this, and we came to a peace over this, but I'm still vexed by this occurrence, right? And I'm thinking a lot about it at the table. And the reason why is I have almost everybody at the table is better mechanically at building mechanical characters. Actually, every single player at the table is better than me mechanically. And the reason why is I don't care about the mechanics of a Dungeons & Dragons character. I care about the narrative, right? I care way more about, and frankly, I don't even feel like I need to know the mechanics that well. I'm like, this is what I want to do, right? And the Dungeon Master's going to be like, okay, make this check with a skill, or you're going to use this ability. Or the other thing is, I'm not even constrained by abilities. I will say, I'm going to do this, right? And they're like, and the DM could say, you don't have the abilities to do that. You don't have the skills to do that. You can't do that, right? And then I'm like, okay, I'll swing my dagger, but I don't care about the mechanics of my player character, even at 10th, as much as I care about the narrative, right? Now, I am working on this because my players care a lot about the mechanics of these characters. But here's what I'm saying, okay? Fight for, virtually, not literally, fight for your right to be wrong as a player. All right, here's the issue, okay? That player had no right to do what he did, and here's why, okay? There is a social contract when we sit at the table, okay? I am going to say what my player character is going to do. The Dungeon Master has every right to say, you are wrong. You are a 5th level character, not a 9th level character. You can't use that ability, right? The Dungeon Master has every right. That right was given to them by the Dungeon Master Guide. They are the arbiter of rules. The Dungeon Master Guide says this, right? If there's a disagreement on rules, the dungeon master decides, right? No player at the table has the right to arbitrate a rules issue, right? The other issue is I suck as a player character, right? I do literally a third, maybe a tenth of the damage of most other player characters because my builds are narrative, they are never mechanical, right? So even if I had used a 9th level ability at 5th level, I still would be doing half the damage of anybody else on the table, right? And in my opinion, that's exactly why the Dungeon Master didn't call it out. I think the Dungeon Master knew that I was using an ability I did not have the levels to use, but then also saying, I'm the Dungeon Master. I know Scott sucks at doing damage, right? I know that even using an ability 4 levels above what he has the right to use, right, he's still going to be coming in last on his DPS, his damage per second, or DPR, damage per round, right? And so he's like, I want this to be fun and exciting for everybody. Scott doesn't even know that he can't use this, but I can allow him to use this, right? And I can make the game more fun for him, and I'm and the Dungeon Master's like, and I'm going to enjoy him succeed, right? That's something rather than, do something stupid and sucky the way he does every turn. That's way behind every other player character because his builds are narrative rather than mechanical, right? So by correcting me and saying, you don't have the right to be wrong, I'm going to play your character. I'm a player character, I'm a player just like you. You're a player, but you can go kick rocks and I'm going to correct you. I'm going to jump into the seat of the Dungeon Master and say, no, you can't do this. We are literally on the same team. He has no right to come in and book block me. He doesn't, right? And so not only is that player disrespecting my right to be wrong, he is disrespecting the ability for the Dungeon Master to say, you know what, it's totally okay that this player character is wrong. And there are tons of places where these other players need to seal their flapping maw, right? New players, this is outrageously important that you allow new players to be wrong, because you, as an experienced player, will be able to do this to every new player virtually every round. No, it's a D4, it's not a D. It's a D6, it's not a D4. And you can correct people and drive them directly out of the game. We have a right to be wrong as players. If you are a player and you see another player who is wrong at the table, seal thine flapping maw. Do not call it out. And don't call it out after the game either, right? Let people be wrong. Let players, if you are a player, let other players be wrong at Dungeons & Dragons. It is critically important. Dungeons & Dragons community, in my humble opinion, is the most actually community in the world, right? And we need to shut it down, right? Let players be wrong. And let the Dungeon Master call out if a player is wrong. It is absolutely constant at my table, and it drives me bat crap crazy. It really, really irritates the living heck out of me, right? I want the right to be wrong. I 100% respect the Dungeon Master's right to say, you are wrong. I also think it's really important for Dungeon Masters to have the right and possibility to say, in here, I know you're wrong, and say nothing here. It's critical. It's critical to learning the game. Players, you have the right to be wrong, and no player can stop you. It's wrong for them to call you out as wrong. Only Dungeon Masters have the right to call out a player as wrong, not other players. Stop this at the table. It's critically important that you stop this at the table. Please, if you're a player, give your other players the right to be wrong. I stand for the right to be wrong. Do you stand for the right to be wrong? I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Let me know in the comments below. That's my humble opinion. I can't wait to hear yours. Let me know Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.